WSTKS-FM Worldwide, digital collaborative learning for the 21st century. Hello, everyone. It's Professor Schwartz on the air once again, taking the world by storm from right here in the WSTKS-FM Worldwide studios. Today, join Onyx the cat and me to learn how you can address problems within your student learning team in just 4 easy steps. You know, one of the reasons that many students say they don't like group assignments and team projects is because they lack the skills to navigate occasional challenges that arise whenever 2 or more people work together. But interpersonal, planning and organizational, technical, or time issues can be addressed more productively when your student learning team learns to use an approach called the creative problem-solving framework. What's that? Well, I'm glad you asked. Stick around to learn the 4 simple steps your team can take to handle any unforeseen challenges that arise during your collaborative endeavors. Okay, let's say your student learning team has a big project coming up in just a few days, but you haven't started yet due to, let's say for the sake of argument, poor communication between the 4 or 5 people on your team. What do you do? Well, to begin with, it's vital that your team sits down together in real time for an honest and civil discussion that all team members can contribute to. Remember that everyone has valuable experiences, abilities, skills, and perspectives to bring to the table. So it's important to be receptive to all team members. To keep everything moving forward in a cohesive and productive way, then, your team should ensure that its dynamic is open to and comfortable for everyone on the team. Now that your team has sat down together, let's talk about the 4 parts of the creative problem-solving framework. First of all, clarify the problem facing your student learning team. What precisely is the issue at hand? Before you can move forward toward a solution, it's important that you nail down the specific issue troubling you. What is it, and why is it a problem for your team? A calm, honest discussion here is required, but avoid playing the blame game, which never leads anywhere productive. Next, brainstorm ideas to address and solve the problem. Remember, time is of the essence here, and the main reason you are sitting down together is to figure out a few possible ways forward so that your team can get on with its collaborative work in as streamlined a way as possible. To do that, you need to figure out exactly how you can proceed as a cohesive unit and actually address the issue at hand. Now, that could be as simple as everyone on the team committing to a single block of time to meet for a work session. On the other hand, it might be everyone agreeing to check and reply to incoming emails and text messages more often. It could also be discussing the various cloud-based tools that you might use to construct and present your knowledge. But the point is, your team needs to determine a list of possible solutions to the problem facing it. WSTKS-FM Worldwide, digital collaborative learning for the 21st century. If you find this podcast helpful, be sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. Thirdly, evaluate the ideas that your team has just brainstormed to determine the best solution. Now that your team has generated a list of possible solutions, it's time to examine which of these is the most practical and useful for addressing the issue. Not all ideas are necessarily as useful in practice, though, especially if or when your student learning team is under time constraints. So it's important that you make an effort to look more closely at the various solutions proposed by team members and collectively decide which of those will be the most effective way forward for your team. Last of all, determine how best to put your chosen solution into action. Before your team can get into the nitty-gritty of creating and sharing new knowledge about course materials, you'll need to decide on the most rapid and effective way to implement your team's problem-solving steps. Remember, too, that in addition to the solution itself, your team members will need to monitor carefully how well everything falls into place as you implement your course of action. Realize, however, that sometimes plans do not always work out in quite the way we envision, so it's always a sound idea to have a backup Plan B ready to go just in case. Whatever the issue might be facing your student learning team, it is important with collaborative work to keep things moving forward. Use the 4-step creative problem-solving framework to do that. Make it a habit and refer to the process anytime your team has an unexpected issue arise that gets in the way of completing an assignment for a given week or one of the larger collaborative projects for the course. Effective collaboration is an ongoing process of reevaluation and revision of teamwork habits in order to streamline those practices and keep things happening in a cohesive and productive way. To recap then, let's look at the 4 steps of the creative problem-solving framework one more time. 1. Clarify the problem facing your student learning team. 2. As a team, figure out possible ways that you might solve the problem you face. 3. Evaluate your team's ideas, weighing the possible pros and cons carefully before implementing any of the ideas that you have generated. And 4. Decide on a single solution to the problem and put it into action to enable your team to move ahead with its work. Even if or when your student learning team is pressed for time, make the effort to work thoughtfully through this problem-solving framework to empower your team to handle its own issues. And more important, come up with inclusive ways out of the collaborative quagmire that can sometimes arise when student learning teams are tasked with a collaborative assignment or project, but don't always agree on how best to move ahead. The 4-step creative problem-solving framework is a way to do that regardless of whatever digital tools you use to conceive and construct your work together. Remember, it is vital that all members of your student learning team come together for a discussion in real time to avoid further miscommunication, confusion, and delay. And that will do it for today's program, everyone. Be sure to tune in again for additional tips, tricks, and advice based on my almost 30 years of teaching and working with thousands of undergraduates at 3 Big Ten universities, 2 liberal arts schools, and 2 community colleges across the upper Midwest of the United States. In the meantime, thank you for joining me. I'll see you in class, online, and during Zoom office hours if you drop by with a question. Stay healthy. Have a safe and a productive week. With special regards from Onyx, the cat what am. So long, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.
You've just heard a podcast from WSTKS-FM Worldwide, digital collaborative learning for the 21st century.